things have just took a very interesting turn as multiple teams have reached out about Josh Giddey's availability, including the Golden State Warriors, with a Hail Mary of an offer. I believe Josh Giddey was used this as leverage against Chicago Bulls. Hi, I'm Shaq Barnes, here with another great episode with Bulls Digest, the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls. Also noticed that 67% of you guys have been watching the channel and have not subscribed. Treat it like the Bulls intro. Right through that subscribe button. You know how I do when I do my videos. I don't like to waste you guys' time. Let's get right into the news. Warriors have some interest in Jonathan Kuminga for Josh Giddey trade. See, this what happens when you wait too long in free agency. You didn't have to super low ball the kid. You could have just met him in between. You didn't have to give him 30. You had to give him 20, which you're trying to low ball him on the 20. You could have easily met in the middle and add incentives in the contract like I've been saying since day one. Because you know why this is in the air? Because we're at the tail end of free agency. And at the tail end of free agency, you go back and look at your team, you see what you missed out on, and you look at your roster and like, man, we don't have a roster full of players, or man, we don't have enough wings. Let's just add somebody. Let's see who's available. And this is what happens. This is what happens. Bulls could have easily ended this. Now you know what's going to happen now? Teams going to show interest. And now if it's a team that kind of got a little money, they're going to give him the money that he wants. Or close enough to it and put a lot of money up front in a poison pill contract. That's a possibility could happen. But let's get into the news. The Golden State Warriors are at a very public stalemate with restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga over a new contract. While not negotiated through the media in the same way, the Chicago Bulls, and Josh Giddey are in a similar situation. The Warriors are at least open to the idea of trading their problems. A Kuminga for Giddey trade, reports NBA insider Jake Fisher during a live stream for Bleach Report. Let me say one thing before we get into the quote. The Warriors, you are not slick. You're not slick. Oh, let's just get rid of both of our problems. First thing first, we was talking about Vooch and Jonathan Kuminga early end of the season. That was what we was talking about. You didn't want Vooch no more, so you wanted Al Horford. That's one. Two, we're not doing this. You guys act like y'all been treating Jonathan Kuminga like he's the next big thing. His potential look like the next big thing. But y'all have not been treating him like that. At least with Josh Giddey, we know we want Josh Giddey. We just trying to find the right number to meet him at. We just don't want Josh Giddey at $30 million a year. The Warriors, y'all don't want Jonathan Kuminga at all. And we know Jonathan Kuminga don't want to be there at all. So you're not going to get the offer that you want. Let's stop these shenanigans. What you talking about? They want a key rotational player or a young talented player and a first-round pick. Gee, get out of here, Golden State. Let's get into the quote. Jake Fish report says, I can report that there have been multiple teams that have reached out to Josh Giddey representation about having interest in him. Golden State is one of them. Golden State would be interested depending on how the machinations would go in some kind of Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga sign and trade to my understanding. Now, for me, this would be a hard thing to pull off, a double sign and trade with the money and the guys. But I'm going to say straightforward with this. When Golden State, if I was the Chicago Bulls, and when Golden State called me, say, hey, let's do a Josh Giddey, Jonathan Kuminga double sign and trade because we both having problems with our guys. I'm looking at the camera. I'm looking at the camera. Y'all, we watch the video together. Oh, we watched the video. No. Click. What are you talking about? No, we're not doing that. We know you don't want this guy. We're not doing that at all. So the problem is no. But let's get into the logistics of hypothetically if the Bulls said yes. I'm gonna explain to you guys how hard it is to pull off. I'm saying no in general. I'm good. We're not doing that. We want Jonathan Kuminga on the team with Kobe White, with Josh Giddey together. That makes it with Montes Buzelis. We want him. We want all of them on the floor together. You better take this Vooch and Patrick Williams, and we gonna call it a day. If that ain't what you want, we cool, because we don't necessarily need Jonathan Kuminga. It would be good to have him, add him to the roster, but we don't need a Jonathan Kuminga. We're not getting rid of one of our key pieces for Jonathan Kuminga. No, I'm good on that. But let's get into the logistics. This trade is a long shot, primarily due to the logistics reasons. A double sign and trade deal is incredibly difficult to pull off. That's because of the NBA base year compensation rule, which would break down in a practice of this way. So this is your key example. So if you anybody watching like, oh, we can do this, or if you're a Jonathan Kuminga guy who wanted it to happen, this is why it's gonna be kind of hard. For the purpose of the trade, Kuminga's outgoing salary would count for half, 50% of his annual average on the Warriors' books, but the full amount incoming on the Bulls' books. For example, hypothetically, if Kuminga's average salary on the new contract were $20 million a season, for the Warriors, it would count as $10 million going out. But for the Bulls, it would count as $20 million of the year coming in. And the same is true in reverse. Giddey would count for 50% of his salary on the Bulls' books, but for the full amount on the Warriors, that means that would need to be at least 3 teams in this trade to make the math work, and more likely at least 4 teams. Good luck putting it together. 100% good luck putting it together. So the whole point is business of basketball. This you got to understand too, guys. Let's just say, hypothetically speaking, too, Giddey and Kuminga was both on the same level as a player, like equal. So it was like a fair 50-50 trade as players. But if their money don't match, it's not going to work. When it comes to trades, always look at the contract. Do not look at the players. You can look at the players once they say the deal is done. But always look at the contracts, because you are moving contracts more than you moving the player. And if the contracts don't match up, no matter if the players are on the same level, not on the same level, it's about the contracts. The money, the math gotta math. That's the only thing that's what stop a lot of trades. Or when trades seem one-sided, or when trades, you don't like how trades come out, or you think like, man, this team got way too much for this, or the team didn't get enough. It's about the contracts at the end of the day, because one of those players who could be a role player that added to the trade, who you think is washed up or trash, because obviously he had to be decent to get a big contract. He ain't at that level no more, but he still got that contract. Now, so I just think this will be a long shot to do, because then who will be the 4th or 3rd team involved? The Utah Jazz, the Brooklyn Nets. Who would they add? That sounds like a Cam Thomas might be involved somewhere, Or, if Nick Claxton could possibly be available there, look, you can send Jonathan Kuminga to the Nets. Give us Nick Claxton. I'll take that big body young rim protector. That's what I would rather prefer to have. But let's get into the second half of this video, where remember when it just came out right before teams start showing interest that Josh Giddey is expected to contract to compromise at the long standoff. So everybody know the Bulls have been in a standoff. Why, as soon as they say, hey, the Bulls and Giddey are ready to compromise, all these teams show interest? Because tail end of the free agency, we got to get what we can get, and this is what happened. Now, for me, I 100% think Josh Giddey is going to use this as leverage, because the best scenario for Josh Giddey to be the player that he wants to become is the Chicago Bulls. He's the starting point guard. The system benefits his play style. Technically, the system kind of runs through Josh Giddey, because how we play small ball, Josh Giddey can get rebounds, instantly push the offense. We play fast, Josh Giddey can get the pass. We got enough shooters on the court where Josh Giddey can get the floor spacing to operate and attack the paint. If he goes to the Golden State, he will become a role player, most likely off the bench. Nets, I don't think they got the personnel to fit his play style or the coach. A lot of shot chuckers on that team. And those are like the other team. And then the Kings, like, come on, it's not going to work. We already seen how Josh Giddey played with Zach Lavine and DeMar DeRozan. But business of basketball, now we're on, as Bulls fans, or the Chicago Bulls, we are on the opposite side of business of basketball, because now when teams show interest, I'm going to play my role like I will leave and go to this other situation, or I want to accept this sign and trade because they're giving the money I want, knowing that I want to stay here. But now I'm going to use this as leverage to say, hey, I can't accept that $20 million a year no more. We just accept Josh Giddey. We was gonna do 23. Nah, the price went up. You took too long. So now I'm thinking 27 now. You know, I get it. Y'all don't want to give me 30. Let's do it 27. Because Golden State is calling my phone. The Sacramento Kings are calling my phone. The Brooklyn Nets are calling my phone. So I think the Chicago Bulls really have to get this under wraps and get this situation done. Because now teams are showing interest. They will try to find a way to make the money happen now at this point because this is desperation time of free agency. And I 100% agree that Josh Giddey will use this as leverage against the Chicago Bulls. I'm not mad at him for doing it. But let me know what you guys think about both things. Would you accept a Jonathan Kuminga, even if we got to figure out, put the puzzle pieces together to make it happen? Would you guys agree to a Jonathan Kuminga, Josh Giddey sign and trade, a switcheroo? And also, are you guys nervous that we could possibly lose out on Josh Giddey because I believe that he will use this as leverage to get the money that he's looking for? I'm Shaq Barnes. It's been a great episode of Bulls Digest. See you guys on the next one. Peace.